We'll call this meeting to order, regular meeting, City Council of the City of Dalhart. Time is February 26, 2024 at 6 p.m. First item on the agenda is the prayer. Frankie, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Let's pray. Our Father God, as we come before you at this moment, Lord, first we praise you and we thank you for who you are, for the blessings that you've given each of us. Because we stop and pause and thank, Lord, for the freedoms that we have, the ability to make decisions, go places where we want to, Lord, and we are very blessed. Blessed individuals, blessed community, and we praise you and thank you for that. Now this evening, Lord, we hold before you the decisions that we make, Lord, are for all and not just for a few or for personal reasons, that we do so in a manner as pleasing unto you, showing, Lord, what it is to know you and have you as a Savior, Lord. And we praise you and thank you for that. Now be with our first responders in the community and around, Lord, during this time of the weather and stuff, Lord, and keeping them safe, Lord. And we pray that your hand be over, and knowing it is over, anything that would occur, Lord, that would cause severe damage or something, Lord. And we just ask for that blessing upon the community and upon the area and the state. And we praise and thank you for that. Now, Lord, be with us continually, and Lord, we hope that we honor you and glorify you with our lives. And most of all, Lord, we praise and thank you for who you are, for the sacrifice that you made for each red cross. With your precious name, we pray.
Amen. Please stand with me as do the pledge of the United States and Texas flags. Allegiance to the flag,
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas flag. I
Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Item number one, public comments. Consent agenda. No, need to approve the consent agenda.
Yes. Make a motion, we approve consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Travis, you want to go first?
Sure.
On the public comments, I need to remind everybody you'll have 3 minutes to speak, and we're not allowed to engage with you. Just
Yes, sir. I'd like to address the seal coat, which you guys are going to, I guess, be addressing later this evening. One of the things, the first thing I want to address is G&G was the only bidder that did acknowledge the addendum. The precedent by the city, and not this council, but councils that preceded you, has been set that incomplete bids are invalid bids. And the other two bidders did not acknowledge the addendum. Therefore, they did not complete the bidding documents on the appropriate supplied documents because the addendum addressed the bidding documents only. Legal counsel at the time that the precedent was set, because it was us that had an incomplete bid and it was thrown out. And legal counsel at the time advised that it was an incomplete bid, therefore it could not be considered. So you guys have the opportunity, if budgetary constraints are an issue, through the contractual agreement, you've got the opportunity to increase or decrease your bid quantity up 25 or down 25%. So if budgetary constraint is an issue, you can address that with the bid quantity and adjust that quantity to fit a budgetary need. And lastly, in our professional opinion, the ERC should not be seal coated until all construction is complete. The first time you get a telehandler or a skid steer or a forklift, even though it's not heavy construction will be complete, even though those items are on there and they start turning their wheels, you're going to tear it up. And you're not going to find a contractor out there, nor should you look for a contractor out there to come back and warranty that work. I appreciate you guys' time.
Thank you very much. Robin?
My name is Robin Groen and I'm the current director of the Good Samaritan in Dalhart. In July of 23, we moved our clothing department to 1115 East First. And this last Saturday, we moved our pantry over there. On the third Wednesday of every month, we have a commodity supplement program that serves approximately 100 people, senior citizens a month. They come and they pick up their food boxes. We have a delivery truck from High Plains Food Bank that arrives around 1. Then our drive-through for the senior pickup starts approximately 2:30 to 5. There will be a lot of traffic at that time because the seniors line up and wait for their turn. We would like to come to cone off the north. It would be going west lane so that our seniors would not be sitting in traffic, which would basically be the residential parking spaces, for the homeowners. That being said, we want the seniors to come in on the east side and exit on the west side and hopefully go west on their way out. We're expecting more of clients because of the food program being moved over to there. We are also concerned about the children in that area that ride the bus, and currently, according to DISD rule, records, there's approximately 158 kids that live either in that area or ride that school bus to Kelly Hill, with Kelly Hill only being like approximately 3 blocks from the Good Samaritan. And we're requesting that the speed limit be lowered to 30 miles per hour going down that road. Currently, it's 40 miles an hour. It starts like at Subway and it gradually increases. And by the time you get to Jefferson, it's 55. But in front of the Good Samaritan, and as those kids would come off of the school, if they have to, or off that bus, if they have to cross First Street, they have to cross in 40-mile-an-hour traffic. Basically, we just want y'all to, consider this. Because it could be a hazard. We don't want to hurt any of our clients. And, we want to protect the kids, but we serve a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Laura?
Roy Sutter. As you all know, it's getting windy time here at Panhandle. That pasture over between my property and East Place, it's all grown up tall with dry weeds on it. It's gonna be a fire hazard one of these days. Can you do something about it?
We're not allowed to engage with you, Roy, during the public comments. But we can definitely listen to what you've got to say.
Okay, well, I just wanted documented that I have come down and addressed you people about the problem. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Any more public comments? Item number 2, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding an amendment to the interlocal contract for administrative services for the city of Dalhart's 2023 Texas Community Development Block Grant Downtown Revitalization Program. grant number CDM 23-0296.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Craig Whiteside. I'm with the PRPC. So on behalf of PRPC, I want to congratulate the city of Dalhart in securing the funds of not one but two grants from the Texas Department of Agriculture. So as far as item one, discuss, consider, this item here is an amendment to our initial interlocal agreement signed December 14th, 2022, addressing the grant that y'all had won or got awarded. In its application phase, our first interlocal agreement was a free of charge for PRPC to create the application, and if funded, there was a clause in there to say that PRPC would be able to do the administrative work and project management for the project or the grant funds. This first one being the downtown project. Services for this amendment include project management, financial management, environmental review, construction management, assisting developing, implementing, and documenting fair housing activities, and then audit and closeout procedures as well. So the amendment contract here is for $40,000 for PRPC. That was initially budgeted into the grant fund. So however, the grant is set up as far as construction, engineering, and admin, there's not an additional 40 grand to this project. It's a set flat fee at 40 grand. And so that's it. Any questions?
Need a
Make a motion, we approve the amendment for CDM 23-2096. Again.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 3, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding an amendment into interlocal contract for administrative services for City of Dalhart's 2023 Texas Community Development Block Grant, number CDV 23-0294.
So, same amendment, same, nothing's different except for the project number here. So the project being a different project, we want to have agreements for both sets of projects since they're different. This project being a water and sewer system improvement project. So nothing different here, same flat fee of administration, $40,000 on this project as well, built into the budget.
I'll make a motion, we approve the amendment to project grant CDV 23-0294.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Item number 4, discuss, consider, and adopt a resolution regarding civil rights and the adoption of the following policies for 2 Texas CDBG projects. CDM 23-0296 and CDV 23-0294. Excessive force policy. Section 504 policy against discrimination and grievance procedures. Citizen participation plan, grievance procedures, code of conduct, and fair housing policy.
So as far as the program goes for Texas CDBG, these are standard, it's a federally funded grant money. So these are standard policies and resolutions that come along with the federally funds from the urban development. So I can go through each of these policies individually for your council to pass, or we can sum it up into one with an.
I'll sum it up into one.
Okay. So you want overviews of each of them? Okay. So excessive force essentially is saying the city's not allowed to do any excessive force by law enforcement for any nonviolent civil rights protest or demonstration regarding the project. Section 504 is the city will not discriminate against any handicaps And we'll also create a grievance procedure within the city to receive any complaints or procedures and then address those in a timely manner. The citizen participation plan is essentially outlines citizen participation and grievance resolution, ensuring that all members of the community have a fair voice and address the concerns related to the project. The code of conduct essentially says the city will do its due diligence to prevent any conflicts of interest and personal gain with the project when it comes to procurement measures. And then the fair housing policy, it's addressed in this next item, but it just essentially says reaffirms fair housing law that was passed in 68 that prohibits discrimination in selling or renting houses. This is in the clause based on it coming from the housing of urban development. So those funds being that's why this fair housing policy is in there as well. And so overview of all of those policies there. Any questions?
Motion we adopt resolution 2024-02.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 5. Discuss, consider, and adopt proclamation designating April 24th as Fair Housing Month in the city of Dalhart. 2, Texas CDBG project CDM 23-0296 and CDV 23-0294.
So this is essentially the fair housing policy. It wants at least one activity that furthers fair housing activity. So this proclamation of April 2024 being Fair Housing Month is one of those actions to reaffirm that fair housing policy.
Make a motion we adopt proclamation in relationship to the Fair Housing Month in the city of Dalhart.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 6, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action on resolution 2024-03 designated the city mayor, city manager, and assistant city manager to act as a designated authorized official to execute contractual and environmental documents between the Texas Department of Agriculture and the city for the 2023 Texas Community Development Block Grant Program. Project CDM 23-0296 and CDV 23-0294. And for the mayor, city manager, assistant city manager, and city secretary to act as authorized signatories to certify the payment request form required for requesting funds from the 2023 Texas Community Development Block Grants, CDM 23-0296 and CDV 23-0294.
So this resolution here, it designates persons or persons who are authorized to sign contractual agreements throughout this project and then use the website as far as TDA goes, the Department of Agriculture, to certify any environmental reviews that are done by us. And then for its complete duration, but then also authorize the need for 2 people to be authorized on certified payment requests. So 2 different individuals will have to, based on that list of city officials right there.
Motion read adopt resolution 2024-03 as stated.
Second by Michelle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 7, Dalhart Police Department report for January from Police Chief Tommy Hughes.
Be short and sweet. So we got our new system up and running, been playing with it. The back sheet shows the arrest. That's just a sample of what our new system will allow us to do. But for the month of January, we logged 478 traffic stops. We had 327 calls for service put in, 9 motor vehicle crashes and 11 arrests. And you can see on that second sheet, that shows you how the arrests show up, shows you what they were charged with, where they were arrested and all that information like that. So just a sample of what the new system will do for us. So, any questions on any of that? Good.
Thank you, Todd. Item number 8, Dalhart Volunteer Fire Department, January fire report from Chief Mario Garcia.
Okay. I had to look at the screen and see which one we're talking about. We're going with the fire report. What we have in the month of January, 1 structure fire, and this is the following will be in the city. Structure fire, 3 false alarms, 2 utility emergencies, and 1 other type of emergency, other type of rescue. In Dalhart County, we had 1 grass fire and 1 vehicle crash with extrication and 1 without. And then in Hartley County, we had 1 vehicle fire, 1 vehicle extrication, and 1 vehicle with no extrication. Put us at a total of 13 responded calls, emergency calls. Total hours on call by our volunteers is 402.61 hours in training. In-house, 80 hours in training. Out of the department, 120 hours training. Hours in meetings, 40. Put a total hours for the month of January at 642.61. And that is all I have on the fire report.
Thank you, Mario. Item number 9, discuss and or act upon a request for proposal to sell 2 fire trucks through a sealed bid.
And these are the 2 units that we were looking at. Putting up for a bid. The new fire truck replaced both of these. So that includes the 1988 Mack fire truck, which was the pumper, and the 1995 Ford rescue truck with the hydraulic extrication tools. The new truck takes care of both of those duties of that truck. So that's where we're looking at to be able to get to put these trucks up for bid for sale.
Questions on the fire truck sealed bid sale?
Make a motion, we approve the request for proposal to sell fire trucks. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mario. Item number 10, municipal court update from Judge Moore.
Judge is here. I don't think the judge is here.
Item number 11, staff update on City of Dalhart January financials.
Good evening. Before I get started, I wanted to introduce Misty Tracy. She's going to be the one who will be taking over my position in June 1st. Full time.
Meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. Okay. So January represents 4 months of activity for fiscal year 23-24 and makes up 33% of the budget. Starting with the general fund, the city collected almost 1.8 million and expensed about 1.2 million, ending the month with positive net proceeds of 577,000. The ERC project expensed 446,000, and since these expenses are paid for by other funds, without the expense, the general fund ended January with a positive net proceeds of $1 million. For the year to date, the general fund collected about 4.9 million in revenue and expensed about 4 million, leaving a positive net proceeds of 874,000. Without the ERC project, the general fund has a positive net proceeds of almost 1.9 million for year to date. Up next, we have the water fund. The water fund collected about $194,000 in revenue and expensed $305,000, making the net proceeds for January a negative $111,000. Another transfer of $142,000 for the 2021 CO is made. Without the CO expense, the water fund would have a positive net proceeds of $31,000 for January. For the year to date, the water fund collected almost $952,000 in revenue and expensed almost $1.4 million, leaving the year to date with negative net proceeds of $436,000. Without the 2021 CO, the water fund would have a positive net proceeds of $134,000. The city completed business as usual in all other funds. Up next, we have an update on employment. At the end of January, we had a total of 65 out of 69 employees, leaving us with 4 openings: 1 police officer, 1 in the water department, 1 in the garage, and 1 in the parks department. On the next page, we have our detailed financial report for the general fund. Some of the general fund highlights for January include sales tax revenue received $292,553, which is allocated between city sales tax reduced property tax, and economic development tax. For the year to date, general funds collected revenue is 54% of the budget, and expenditures without the ERC project are at 24% of the budget. The general fund has collected 88% of the property tax budget. The court department has received 59% of their budget for revenue. The general fund received grant reimbursement for the police department body armor. Hartley County's portion of $169,000 was received for county fire services. A payment to Plains Builders of $439,000 was made for the ERC contractor fees. The fire department purchased rescue tools. The final payment for the splash pad was mailed. And lastly, a payment made to EDC of $73,665 for January's portion of sales tax. Up next is our 3-year trend for sales tax revenue. On the next page, we have a detailed financial report for the water fund. The water fund continued business as usual. On the next page, we added January's water sewer sales of $190,653 to the 3-year trend. Some highlights in other funds include hotel occupancy sent out reimbursement for 2023 fourth quarter hot tax funding. EDC issued their first signed grant to ADC Builders. Rita Blanca Lake Department received Hartley County's annual contribution payment. And the Rita Blanca Fund purchased fish for the fishing pond. Lastly, as of January 31st, 2024, cash and bank and investments for all funds total $19,202,298. The restricted committed funds portion is $11,185,181, and the unrestricted general reserve balance of $8,017,117. The objective of the unrestricted general reserve fund is to minimize the potential physical crisis. Anyone have any questions?
How much has our reserve grown in the last year? Do you have those numbers?
Off the top of my head, I don't, but
About $800,000.
yes, about 800,000.
Any other questions? Sarah?
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Item number 12, discuss and or act upon Dalhart Rotary Club's request for the 4th of July fireworks funding from community development funds.
Good evening, council. I'm Mark Henry, and I'm the licensed pyrotechnician for the fireworks setup and permitting for our annual fireworks show on the 4th of July.
And I'm Holly McCauley. I'm the president of Rotary.
And we're here requesting $10,000 from the Community Development Fund for the purchase only of the fireworks. So all the other costs associated with volunteers and the setup and the things are all covered by me. So this is all the money, 10,000 goes all for purchase of fireworks, the whole amount. This is the second year we've done this through Rotary. Before that, we did it through the chamber, and $10,000 has been the budget for the last 4 or 5 years. Fireworks went up during COVID and it was raised during COVID to $10,000. Fireworks continue to go up, but that's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes worth of fireworks in $10,000 up in the sky. And I think that's probably sufficient. So we're requesting the same thing from the Community Development Fund if we have in years past.
Yes, we have plenty of funds in there for the development fund.
Make a motion that we grant the request for the $10,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Item number 13, discuss and or act upon Dalhart Volunteer Fire Department's request for 4th of July celebration, funding from community development funds.
Yes, so this is with the 4th of July, the cookout we had last year. We had big turnout for that. Community enjoyed that. We served hot dogs and hamburgers last year, and then they just literally ate it up. It was a good time, played games. So that we're asking again for $3,000 to help with the expense of foods and supplies for that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mario. Item number 14, discuss, consider and or act upon the bids for the Seal Coat project.
So Oscar is here from High Plains.
Okay.
Well, my name is Oscar. I work for High Plains Civil Engineers. That's the civil engineering firm that put together the Seal Coat project for 2024. I have issued a letter to the council, kind of explaining a little bit what is the situation with the Seal Coat. So in a nutshell, on February 20th, the bid opening was done. There were 3 contractors that provided bids. The bid had one addendum, and the addendum basically consisted of changing the drawings. There was a mistake on the drawing, and so we reissued the drawings and the bid documents. All the quantities were the same, and only one contractor acknowledged that. The other contractors did not. Based on the contract documents that we have, the city has the option to either throw the other bidders bid because they were not following the rules, or waive any or all considerations that the contract requires. And so basically it's up to the city to decide, well, it's for the best interest to go with the lowest bid, or it's with the best interest for the city to go with the contractor that went ahead and fulfill all the requirements, even though might not be the apparent lower bid. The bid itself consists on the base bid, which is the streets that are going to be seal coated throughout the city. That's the base bid. And then from that, we have 3 different alternatives. Alternate bid number 1 is the city hall parking lot outside. Number 2 is the emergency response parking lot. And then the alternative number 3 is the 2-course penetration treatment for Texas Street. And so the city also has the option of awarding only the base bid or any combination of the base bid and the alternative bids. So if the base bid is awarded and only the base bid, then G&G, which is the contractor that fulfill all the requirements, would be the lowest bid. If the city decides to do the base bid and all the alternate bids, then Briars would be the lowest bid. The difference, assuming that the city would like to award all the project base bid and all the 3 alternatives, the difference between the apparent lowest bid and the second bidder is about $28,000 and change. And so that those are the facts, and if there's any question that I can answer, I'll be happy to.
I guess my question is on the addendum, since they did not acknowledge that, can't they come back and ask for more money whenever they do the projects? They can, it may have bid lowest, but they can also now come back and ask for more money while the projects are going through, since they did not acknowledge the addendum?
No, they will not be able to do that. And the reason is because this is a unit price contract. What that means is we bid a number of square yards of seal coat. And so the city would pay the amount that they seal coated. And the quantities never changed to begin with, so that cannot be the case.
I think since we only had one contractor that followed the rules and went with the addendum, I think it's my recommendation that we go with that contractor and then just discuss what alternate bids that we want to go with, if any.
I think that we should definitely throw out the other two since they didn't follow the way the contract was supposed to go and award everything to G&G.
I'll move that we award this seal coat contract to G&G and ask that they do not touch the ERC parking area until that building is completely done.
Is that something that's, if we decide to award the ERC parking lot, is that something that we can wait for it's complete? The price going to change, or is it still going to be the same price?
Project documents have got August 1 as our dead date. As we all know, XIT happens right there the first part of August. So I would say if it is 100% complete prior to August 1, yes, we can. If not, I would say it could, you could either modify the timeframe in the contract to extend it to August 31st, or do an alternate time. So, yeah, you within seal.
Also, I think we've budgeted 300, but 30 of that is for contractor, or not contractor fees, but professional fees. Is that correct? And so I don't feel like at this time we need to do the parking lot here at City Hall. Or the Texas Street probably is something that needs to be done. If you guys want to discuss that, let me know your thoughts on it, but unless, I mean, that's going to put us over budget. So really, we've got 270.
So if you take out,
$270,000 that we've got to play with.
right, so if you take out City Hall, that takes out 40 or 39, really, 39 of it.
Yeah, City Hall takes out.
City Hall is 39,151.
Yeah.
So that would,
Take you to.
that would take us to our, what we were looking for.
No, it would take you to 280.
80.
So their whole bid, including City Hall, if you look at the numbers at the bottom, is 309. So if you roughly,
So take out 9 and then 30, that'd take us to 270.
yeah. And then the third, so it'd take you right there.
Take us right at 270.
Yeah. You go over about $312. Which is,
When is the ERC supposed to be completed?
so the contract is late September. And the thought process is that all the work inside would be done. So they would be inside, they wouldn't have stuff out. Working on the outside of the building at that point.
Maybe we'll move this parking lot and the ERC to April or May of next 25.
That would be a different bid.
Yeah.
So this is only valid for a certain period of time. And then you go out to bid again.
So I guess our options are, if you're concerned about damage to the parking lot, we could just discard it from this year's budget and do it next year's budget possibly.
Right.
Is that an option?
I think so. If they're working on the inside, they're still gonna have to move
You're still gonna, and then
forklifts or even skid loaders.
you still got all your stuff moving
But you're trucking everything into the building, getting everything moved in the building after it's done.
I mean, at that point, they're only doing finishings and stuff. Right now, they're putting up walls and doing things, but they'll be way past that.
You just won't be, Mary, you just won't be in a position for the grand opening.
We don't, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It won't be ready,
It's up to 25.
because it's what, March 25?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then probably, I wouldn't know for sure, but I don't know that when they could do it after we approve the budget or put it in the budget for 25 after that time.
Typically like.
Installation on the cold weather and all of that, I don't know when they would be able to do it. It might be the first part of summer or whatever like that. Yeah, actually.
y'all are saying that we could push it back until the end of August?
August is the last day on our contract where seal coat should be applied.
If we do that, we should be okay.
The individual, well, okay, the motion on the table has died. It's left a second. And so if you want to make another motion, or would you like me to entertain a motion?
And if I may, there is a possibility of right now award the emergency response parking lot, but if at the time of construction, you guys are not ready, then we can use a change order to carve that out if it's not ready, and then it is approved, but you still have the chance of remove it from the project if you guys are not ready.
I entertain a motion to approve G&G to do all projects except City Hall parking lot.
Second. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dwayne, second by Ty, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Item number 15, consider an act upon recommendation from Planning and Zoning Committee to conduct the first reading of the ordinance 2024-05 to rezone lots 16 through 20. Block 12, Kendrick Addition, City of Dalhart, Dalham County, Texas, from R3 residential to special use for the purpose of placing a manufactured home.
And you're opening the first reading, is that right?
Make a motion, we'll open for reading.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any discussion on?
Leonie, do you want?
I do. So the Martinez family came to me for 601 Margaret. And it is for manufactured home. It's in a residential area, so they're going to be changing it to special use to get it rezoned. The lot requirements have been met. It is a used manufactured home. It does meet HUD approval. The only thing that I seen on my behalf was that the siding of the manufactured home, when they remove it, it's gonna need new siding. So we did speak with the owners. They mentioned that they would be replacing it, but placing in brick siding around it to make it look a little bit better for that area. Other than that, that's all we have for this one here.
And planning and zoning recommended.
They did. They recommended it come to you guys. They were okay with it as long as that siding was removed and placed in with new.
We'd like to close the first reading.
Any other questions on the first reading?
Well, there's a few, but do we have a HUD tag on the, I could not see a HUD tag on the structure.
There is one. We didn't take a picture of it, but there is one on there. The title does have one as well. We didn't have the pictures for that one though, not for where it shows the HUD approval.
And to your knowledge, did they file certificate of ownership and location?
For the 601 Margaret to move. They have not. They haven't moved anything just yet.
At this time, would be on the consideration in past experience that after the unit comes in and they're making plans for that, it turned into a mess trying to get them in compliance of getting the exterior structure. So if it's contingent upon that, there would be consideration that it is not like new. And it would have to be at second reading approved or contracted out that it's going to be done.
Yeah, I remember the issue we had with the last one that said it was gonna be done and it, I don't know if it ever got done.
And that's where it stepped up that any improvements had to be done before it was on site. So the consideration of what's legal on that in relationship to in place.
So
They would have to put in new siding and then brick it.
no,
If
sir.
they wanted to brick it, that's what they're saying. They want to take the siding off and put brick on it.
This would be the skirting, the skirt.
Right, the skirt, right, but they couldn't do that before they moved it.
They can't do anything
Right,
until
so
they
they
move.
would have to put, that's why I'm trying to make this clear. They'll have to put siding on it before it's moved. No, I'm just sitting, that's,
Are we talking about siding?
It's gonna be the skirting.
skirting.
So it doesn't have to be on there. You can just come in with the brick to utilize that as the.
That's what, Councilmember Smith is saying is that we've had this issue in the past where they did not do that, but
Right.
prior to moving it. So he's saying prior to moving it, they need to have that done. So they couldn't use the brick, they would have to go ahead and put on the skirting. And then once moved, then whenever it was here and it was like new because it had new skirting, then they could apply the brick.
Can't move the wood.
Move the skirting.
Yeah.
Leave the skirting off.
If I may, Mayor, what the consideration was on that, we issued an exception to the ordinance. The time frame on putting the brick and all on, and that was what the issue was, that it took an extreme amount of time. They were not applied to
That's right.
of the exception.
Well, if I may, there's an easy way to handle that. You don't issue, code doesn't issue regular occupancy. And that.
Until that's complete.
That's what we did, and correct, that's what we did.
Have to do a final on any manufactured home anyway. So before we issue an occupancy of residency, we have to go do a final walkthrough and make sure everything is in compliance with what they are going to do.
That would help solve that issue.
Yep.
With the student.
Still just concerned about the SOL.
Are you good, Dwayne?
Sir,
Are you good on this one then?
on the first reading, yes, sir. I make a motion to close the first reading.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Item number 17, consider and or act upon recommendation from Planning and Zoning Committee and conduct the first reading on ordinance 2024-07. The rezone lots 31, block 48, Kendrick Trail, City of Dalhart, Dalham County, Texas.
And you're opening the first reading?
Yes.
Also, we're vacating, not rezoned.
Okay.
Yeah, this one here is going to be for 1801 Dotson. I'm not sure what order you guys have it.
Make a motion, we open first reading for 2024-06.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Mr. Peoples came to me on this one here for 1801 Dotson. So this is going to be on the north end to vacate city streets for Terrell and Aspen. This is going to be for the future development for him. He did come to do an application, went through planning and zoning. Planning and zoning suggested that they come to city council to make that decision. They didn't want to make the decision, so they forwarded it to city council. So. On the north end, so Terrell Street, I'm not sure, we don't have anything. Do you have anything that you can present to?
I had presented it with much maps earlier.
Okay.
You come speak about it? Yep. Okay.
As y'all can tell there on the maps I gave you earlier, the yellow highlighted area is what I'm asking to vacate. On y'all's part, it's lays right in the middle of my property. And kind of inhibits what my future plans are.
Any questions or discussion for James?
To do, Mayor, if I may ask. In relationship to the vacated property, the city of Dalhart, being a home rule, has needed more latitude in their decision-making process than general law or state law. Now, having said that is, but in relationship to that, we have a property which would be in, section 213. Is the property number is 11674 and 11673. That is owned by a different individual. One person of the, adjacent cannot make the recommendation for vacating that property of that landowner. And then there is the other thing you can do. And so this would be the first reading. We could come into compliance with that. The legal description of the street closures would need to be discussed. And just a rough thing that I came up with is approximately 696 linear feet from Aspen down to the property line on the bottom part of section 213 and section 212. Same fact being is that the North Terrell would be approximately 534 feet, 576 feet approximately. Same thing, they have like that on the ordinance. And I'd like to address this. You have lot number 219. Lot 219 is not subject to this request, correct?
Yes.
And also in the relationship to, I believe Mr. Peoples has addressed the utility right of ways and the notation here. The alleys would still be maintained by the city. And the only issue would be if somebody came in to want to go across, that I'm sure you would give us an easement to go over under your property between the alleys. I'm not asking for you, it's just.
No,
to get on my.
I've spoke before with Liana and Corbin both, and with the Board of Adjustments. That was our agreement, is if y'all need to run through the alleys, that's fine. That's what we're leaving.
Yeah, we'll have that and then we addressed the question of zoning properties. And we do have two other properties to the west that they should be able to speak if they want to see that happen, because that's under the rules of adjoining properties. So that would be, we've discussed this that on the properties, the 11,000 properties, we'd have to have documentation that they were in agreement to vacating that property. And then the next legal question is coming back on the thing, how we would proceed on we have to change, somebody would have to change and assign the property that is vacated to the appropriate plats. And you have plans on that and be filed, because we have an example in another area. It's not clearly documented what was vacated in another part of town. And all it says when you're looking at it, it says, and streets. That gives us no indication whatsoever in the future. So I have no issues with vacating the property as long as we've got all of the scenarios that should be required. But once again, we have latitude to not do that, but that's just the concerns that I have on the first reading. I'm bringing it up on the first reading so the applicant can address the
corrections
for the second reading.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I guess, do you understand what Dwayne's asking? Asking for?
Yes, sir. We've already started that process.
I'll point out, Mr. Peoples and I have had a discussion about it. I make a motion to close first reading of ordinance 2024-06.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Number 18. Consider and or act upon recommendation from Planning and Zoning Committee and conduct the first reading on the ordinance 2024-08 to rezone lots 1 and 2, block 50, Blair Division, City of Dalhart, Allen County, Texas, from commercial to special use, place of manufactured home.
Miss
We skip
17.
one. Item number 17, consider and or act upon recommendation from Planning and Zoning Committee and conduct the first reading of ordinance 24-07 to rezone lots 31, block 48, Kendrick Trail, City of Dalhart, Allen County, Texas, from R3 residential to special use to place of manufactured home, 518 Margaret.
Make a motion, we open the first reading of ordinance 2024-07.
Second? You have a second, Jimmy? All in favor? Any opposed?
So Ms. Ponce is not here. She had some personal issues for today, so I'll be representing the best that I can for her. 518 Margaret is going to be rezoned. It is a residential R3 area, wanting to place in a manufactured home. This one is brand new. It's gonna be a 2023. Right now, currently, we went to planning and zoning. They did mention there is a home on the property right now. They're going to demolish the old home to place in this new manufactured home. Before they do any of this, it's gonna take a little process. They just wanted to make sure they came through planning and zoning and go through the process for council before they started to demolish, to make sure it's okay. So, I did go out there, to look at the area. The home does need to be demolished for the most part. The, square footage does meet, setbacks meet, all the way around. Driveway has been done. It's gonna be an electrical manufactured home, so no gas will be running at this time unless they want to do it in the future. But other than that, that's all they have, for this one.
If I may, Mayor, the only comment on that has been in past experience with the demolition of the structure. We might want to be considered an exception at the time that code department approves that the property is clean and all that, because we have another property, they never cleaned it up after they demolished it.
Again, that's something you could do, I guess, before you sign off on it.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Item number 17.
Motion to close first reading of ordinance 2024-07.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 18, consider and or act upon recommendation from Planning and Zoning Committee and conduct the first reading on the ordinance 2024-08 to rezone lots 1 and 2, block 50 Blair Division, City of Dalhart, Dalton County, Texas, from commercial to special use to place a manufactured home at 1601 Trinidad.
Motion, we open first reading of ordinance 2024-08.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
For 1601 Trinidad, we had the Cruz family came through. So commercial property in the zoning book, it is approved for a manufactured home to be placed on. We had them, planning zoning recommended that they change that because it still needs to be placed into special use. So commercial needs to still change special use for manufactured homes to come on, and to be set on place. They came back for the second time to get through planning and zoning to get this recommendation pushed to council. During the planning and zoning meet, they realized once they approved, it did not have to go to council for the first reading because it is approved. But since they suggested it, we're gonna do a first reading for this one, and there wouldn't need to be a second council reading for this one because it is an approved special use for commercial, for a manufactured home to be placed in. Now, this one here is another used manufactured home. It is currently sitting on the property right now in the further back area. They didn't know the process of what they were supposed to do per zoning. We were able to catch this one and make sure that they went through the process for city ordinance for them to come through planning and zoning, then through council the correct way. So, other than that, the planning and zoning board did have some issues with the siding on this one at the very bottom where the skirting was taken off to place it there. It does need to be replaced. So they're gonna place in new skirting for this one as well.
Only comment on this particular home does not qualify for the requirements of city for manufactured home installation.
How is that? How is that?
One is not new, like new, it's a 30-year-old home, but two, in the presentation of the layout on the map, if it's just in your packet, the way they're looking at placing it on there is very questionable. Because yes, you'll see it, well, on that, then they'll show where they're including the driveway. The driveway is in an unopened city street. I don't know, that sort of thing, and then There are, and they have said that they could make it work. The utilities are kind of just marginally outside the requirements for, it's on the tail end of it, and it's always been an issue on that. So I don't know how they can make their utilities work, especially in relationship to sewer and water. But that is, their comments were that they could take care of that. But as new like new, with all that, and with the new like new, it just does not comply. And it does not have does it have a HUD tag on?
I didn't locate one on this one. This one came from a different state, from Oklahoma. The title we did have, I believe it's in the pack. I'm not sure if it was sent to you guys.
If so, if the tag is not there, have they applied for a Texas certificate?
Not that I'm aware of.
And also have they submitted a SOS certificate of ownership and location?
Not that I'm aware of.
The certificate of the SOL is not mandated in our ordinances, but the other two is. If it does not have a HUD tag on it, the serials and all of that, it's in ordinances that it cannot be installed. They would have to have a Texas certificate or seal is what they really call it, the Texas seal, and they have to apply to the state of Texas to get a seal put on it. And that has to go through the process because it's in Oklahoma. Came out of Oklahoma. And I would like to ask the question now, is that home presently occupied?
Nothing is there that I know of. Now, if it's occupied, it's gonna be out of, there's no electrical out there. Nope, there's no electrical out there. They did set an electrical pole, Excel. They came to pull a permit. Excel went out there to have electrical placed in, a pole was placed in, so electrical is able to be accessed out there. Water line is off of Trinidad. The plumbing was the question that they mentioned. They'd have to run off of Channing through that egress or through that roadway that's non-existent.
Okay, and then the next possibly three topics on that. Is the individual that is going to install the plumbing, is he a certified plumber?
No one has come for a plumbing inspection or for a permit.
Well,
this time.
got the name who is going to put it in. And two, are you going to, as part of the requirements, especially on the state, do they have a certified installer to come in? And with consideration of it is, we are in a flood zone.
Not that I'm aware of. They didn't mention that they were coming in with it and who would be installing it. We just know that it was there prior to us catching it, and so who placed it there, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was coming from a company or if owners did that personally.
But that's part of the requirements, and it's not notified in the certified installer in relationship to the state code on manufactured home requirements. That's just consideration on the first reading, sir.
Asking for it to come back to the second reading.
Well, I don't know how they're gonna handle that because I don't know how that's. This all boils over to, it is at the discretion of the code department if they want to issue an installation permit on commercial property. So
Would council prefer this came back for a second reading?
Yes.
Would you like to make the motion?
I'd like to make a motion that this comes back for second reading.
All in favor? Any opposed? Now do we close it?
I'll make a motion to close first reading of ordinance 2024-08.
Motion by Dwayne, second by Ty, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Leon.
Thank you.
Item number 19, staff update on Texas legislative updates.
I've got 3 legislative updates that TML sends these out periodically. TML sends these out periodically just to keep cities informed about changes going on with the state. So the first one is about the TxDOT State Infrastructure Bank. This is not a new program, but the rates were recently amended this month. And so in reference to the study land use fiscal analysis that Verdinity has done, if y'all have seen that, They said that we are in a $4.2 million deficit for street repairs and maintenance. So with this state infrastructure bank and the new rates, our AA credit rating would allow for a state match loan at 2.15%. For street repair and maintenance projects in the city of Dalhart would qualify for up to $1 million. So those loans can be between 6 and 15 years. And then once the first one is paid down, you're eligible to get another loan. So it would cover big chunks of that $4.2 million deficit for street repairs. The second update is a local option property tax exemption for childcare facilities. So this was one of the state propositions that was on the ballot last year and then took effect January 1st of this year. Workforce Solutions out of Amarillo has worked with Joe quite a bit on fixing our workforce problem in Dalhart. And of course, number one issue on that was housing. Second issue on that was actually childcare availability, especially for shift workers. If you work 12-hour shifts, our daycare facilities are not covering that time right now. So this new law gives cities the discretion to adopt a property tax exemption for either all or part of the appraised value of real property operating as a childcare facility. With that, it could be negotiated with the childcare facility that a property tax exemption could be made with more staff availability or additional hours to cover those shift workers. So just an option to keep in mind. The third is a change to hot tax code. So this one also took effect January 1st and reads that a municipality may not use municipal hotel occupancy tax revenue for visitors information center under subsection A1 to acquire a site for, construct, improve, enlarge, equip, repair, staff, operate, or maintain any part of a building or facility that is not exclusively used to distribute or disseminate tourism-related information.
On the hot tax code, does this have any impact upon the previous activities of using hot tax on pending disbursements?
On previous disbursements, no, because this took effect January 1st this year. On pending, yes, it would be that the city of Dalhart may not provide any hot funding to operate, staff, or maintain a visitors center that did not exclusively operate as visitors information.
Any other questions for Bryce on the legislative updates? Thank you, Bryce. Motion to adjourn by Michelle. We have a second.
Second that.
One favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?